Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the final figure that makes up Neca Hellraiser Series 2. Today we're having a look at the demon Angelique. Angelique is one of the 6 figures that you need to build the Pillar of Souls. This is also being the last figure of this set. I now will have all 6 pieces, so we will be able to put together the Pillar of Souls and have a look at that. Surprisingly, Angelique was one of the figures I really wanted to get from this set. I liked her in Hellraiser Bloodlines, even though I don't think she made any other appearance in any of the Hellraiser movies. She was definitely a figure that I wanted to get. Hellraiser Bloodlines also is my favorite Hellraiser movie, so that also helps. On the back of the package, it says, a summoned demon who took the census form of a woman and tried to destroy the order of the Cenobites and the gateway that is the box. When her plans failed, she was violently inducted into Pinhead's order, emerging as an erotic collision of beauty and manipulated flesh, truly the Princess of Torment, which was something that Pinhead called her frequently in the movie Princess. You can collect them all, as indicated down below, all 6 figures, and then in the background you can see there is the Pillar of Souls, which again we'll put together in this at some point right after this review. Looking very forward to getting this opened up and having a look at the figure. So I'm going to take a bit of a break. To get the package opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at Angelique. Stay tuned, there's more on the way. And while Angelique takes a nap, the last final piece to the Pillar of Souls, I guess, is, again, the top or bottom piece to the souls. Here's the other piece that was included. So, your guess is as good as mine. I'll certainly figure it out when the 2 pieces come together when we build the Pillar of Souls. So Angelique does come with one. Technically, she does have a peg hole on the underside. If you want to take the figures, there's a little foot hole there. You can peg that into the base here if you want. Now, where is the other, what was it, Series 1? Where Series 1 actually came with pieces to the puzzle box, and each piece also served as the figure stand. Unfortunately, only 2 figures actually come with pieces to the Pillar of Souls that actually can serve as display stands too. The sides and everything else, I mean, there's no peg hole on them. So I don't know why they even gave us the luxury of a possible display base when really only 2 of the figures will allow you to have them. So I can't quite figure that out. Maybe it's also the fact that you'll notice I think both figures that were with display stands were both of the females, and there's probably a reason for it, because unfortunately Angelique suffers the same fate that Julia had. So I'll move that out of the way. Oh, and also, by the way, I'll just put her down for a second, the other accessory that does come with this figure is a very nice puzzle box. I still, for the life of me, don't know whether that NECA Cult Classics Hall of Fame Pinhead came with a puzzle box and I just lost it. But since then, we've gotten ourselves at least a couple of puzzle boxes from these figures. So I gotta be careful I don't lose this. It's a very small piece. Very similar, of course, to the Hellbound Pinhead got his puzzle box, although his was the star configuration. I'm glad at least some of these figures do come with a puzzle box. You could take the puzzle box if you wanted to and put it in her hand, although it doesn't look like she kind of just palms the cube. It doesn't really, the box really doesn't sit in her hand. I mean, you could rotate her hand, but it doesn't seem to want to. There we go. Okay, maybe we got it now. Yeah, even in her hand, you can see it doesn't sit in there. It just kind of, if her hand was just a ledge, you just kind of have to have her puzzle box just sitting on her hands or on her fingers. and just hope that you don't bang the figure at all while she's on her display on your stand or on your desk or wherever, that puzzle box rolls away. By all means, if you have cats, don't certainly put that in her hand either, because that would be temptation for the cats. As temptation as these characters were to the flesh, temptation to a cat is certainly small things on action figures. They love playing with these things. This puzzle box would guaranteed be lost. Now, I don't know if it's sacrilegious, but I would say, I mentioned this already before, if you are right with your collection the way it is and you have no problems gluing the stuff, maybe glue that puzzle box in her hand to prevent that from being lost. Now, as for the figure itself, let's just move the camera up. While I really love the design of Angelique, you can see that she's got her scalp peeled down, exposing her skull at the top there. And then it's not chained, but it's got wire attached to her shoulders. She's one of the prettier looking Cenobites. She probably, I would say, is the prettiest Cenobite. Memory serves me, I can't really think of any other one that looks as good. The Wire Twins certainly weren't very attractive. The female Cenobite from Hellraiser 1 and 2, I don't think she was much to look at. Yeah, Angelique probably gets the title, I don't know if it's much of a title, but she gets the title of the most attractive Cenobite. You can see that she's wearing kind of a, I don't know, more like a seductress kind of outfit. It's certainly a little more different, again, than that of a regular Cenobite. She was very, very different in design from the other Cenobites, that's for sure. The face, I think the paint is pretty good on the figure. She's got this nice sheen. A little bit of a gray going on in the fabric there as well. But the biggest culprit to this figure is the same culprit that was for Julia, and that's she's pre-sculpted. She's got one leg in front of the other, but you can't do anything else with this figure. There's no waist swivel, there's no leg swivel, there's nothing. And you might say, well, you can at least move the head spot, that's something, right? Not really. You can move the head slightly, but any bit of movement you can see starts putting pressure on these very thin strands. If you turn the head too much, that's going to probably rip right off. And you might say, okay, well, what about the shoulders? Same thing with the shoulders. You move those shoulders too much, you can already see where some of these wires, these little threads, have started to tighten. You move it too much, that's going to come right off. So really, the only articulation that Angelique has to speak of is just pretty much in the forearm swivel. That's it. This is clearly a case where the figure looks good, but you can't do anything with the figure at all. Which is such a shame because it's such a nice looking figure. Nice looking figure, but when you can't do anything with it, what you have there, my friends, is a statue. That's what we like to call a statue. Also, big culprit for this figure is she's not going to stand very well. At least where I review, this figure does not stand. In fact, I've had to hold her. Okay, maybe she's going to stay. I don't know how long, though. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna grab her anyways. Angelique, I love the character in the movie. I love the figure, but it's so hard overlooking the fact that she's basically a statue that doesn't really want to stand. This is also a good idea, but executed to the point that you have no movability out of this figure whatsoever. Sculpt-wise, good. I think, though, the figure, I'm going to give her a 6.5. If you're okay with the fact that she's not going to do anything aside from what she's doing right now, then this is a good figure to get. Also, if you're a fan of Bloodlines, which is, again, my favorite Hellraiser movie, then I would say Angelique is a good pickup to have. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the last figure, the very last figure that made up NECA Hellraiser Series 2 of figures. We now have all the pieces, the Pillar of Souls, so that will come up immediately after this review. In the meantime, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time.